Have you got any favourites?
Yeah, I mean it's an eating contest. You know, you eat, run, just constantly throughout the day. But I mean, it's motivation for me. I know every 30 minutes I'm going to be taking a gel, and it may sound terrible, you know, the concept of taking 40-something gels for a 24-hour race. But that's how I mentally break up the race. Is, you know, looking forward to those moments. But if I get tired of gels, I mean, I take potatoes. I'll have a taco. I'll have a beer. At the World Championship, I had mashed potatoes in a cup and a fruit smoothie, and I mean, it's just kind of what your body feels in the moment. Not being afraid to, like, you know, have something if your body wants something random, that's okay.
So it's quite important to keep the calories coming in at a steady rate, especially the longer the race is. So I've worked with Hammer Nutrition for a number of years now, and they provide the foundation for all of my fueling with gels and bars and whatnot. But the longer the race gets, the more you have to add sort of normal foods and actual meal type foods. And it's important to just remember to not have any periods of feast or famine, to just keep it going at a steady rate. So I take a huge variety with me, because you never know what your body is going to crave, what it's going to start hating. It's very good at kind of telling you whether it needs salty or sweet or savory, so I have options for all of that. And then it can range everything from homemade kind of wholesome food to just packaged junk food, because at a certain point any calories are better than no calories, and you've got to get it down.
Personally, I like to listen to what my body is craving, and when I'm doing long stuff, it craves salt and fat, and it just loves it. So I like to eat real food. I'm not one for gels unless you're absolutely dying, then a quick gel to the back of the throat can get you going. So my favourite foods are sausage rolls, maybe even a cheeky vegan sausage roll if you want to go that way. But also I would go for milkshakes, sausage rolls, and then when I finish the race, the first thing I want is a giant packet of salt and vinegar McCoys. The crunchier, the crinklier, the better.
You need to be eating, you need to be drinking. In my opinion, doesn't really matter what it is. If it agrees with you and it does the job, then it's a legitimate choice for you. If I'm coaching, I tend to use a choice grid with the people that I'm working with. So you need to have sweet and savoury, you need to have solid and liquid, you need to have treats and stuff that will do the job. So we have 6 categories and we make choices from that. If we've got choices from all of that, we've got variety. If we've got variety, we can cope with the palate changes that happen during an ultra. In other words, you'll go through periods where you just won't fancy what you thought you might fancy. You need to have a plan B or a plan C and a plan C. So we use a grid of 6, sweet and savoury, liquid and solid, treats, and go-to workhorse stuff.
With ultras, I definitely treat them like all-day picnics, and I think the main thing to think about when you're thinking about fueling them is making sure that you're going to have something that you're going to want to eat, which is really difficult because you never know what you're going to fancy eating when you're kind of, you know, 30 miles deep on the side of a mountain. So taking a good selection of little bits, so I'd have like a little bag of like chili peanuts, or a little bag of party rings, love a party ring, or some like dried apricots. That's always a really nice one because it's quite sweet but not being sort of fake sweet. And also baby food, pouches of baby food have been an absolute stalwart of mine. So you can get them with like baby rice in, with sweet potato, that kind of thing. So in the same way that your gels during a marathon would top up your depleted carb stores, you can do the same using baby food. So yeah, food's obviously really important when it comes to running ultras because you have to keep topping it up, you have to keep eating, and some people don't have the stomach for it. I'm really fortunate that, touch wood, I don't have any major stomach issues, and I'm really fortunate that I can eat and run at the same time. And I know that's not the case for a lot of people, so obviously test everything before you actually go out there in a race situation.
It's more important the longer you're going, so you know, you probably get through 50k, 50 miler on what I call fumes. A lot of people just stick to Coke, you know, after the first couple of hours. But in 100 milers, you've really got to have a plan and make sure you're getting a lot of carbs in. So my personal plan is 90 grams of carbs an hour if I can. I love goo gels. I've always tried to rely on them. They're small, they're easy to carry, and they give me what I need, but I'll eat pretty much anything really.
Food is a really important part of multi-day performance, because if you eat the wrong things at the beginning of a multi-day or a long adventure, by the end of it your body is going to be kind of eating itself to try and support you. So you need to have the right things. I have a very clear diet, which is when I'm on these big adventures, I eat porridge and coffee in the morning, and then I eat nuts and a bar during the day. I have tortillas and peanut butter for lunch, and then I have a big meal in the evening. It's like a dehydrated meal. And then on top of that, anything you can eat, take it and eat it. But just make sure you practice with the food you're going to use before you go and do a race or anything like that, because your body doesn't like change when you're actually doing something.
Oh, food and drink incredibly important on an ultra, because if you don't get your food and drink right, then your chances of actually completing it and feeling reasonably okay are quite limited. So for me, yeah, it's about I start to eat and drink fairly soon into the ultra, usually within half an hour, and I'm very much a savoury food fan, so I do carry a few sweet things, but I tend to keep those for towards the end if I'm really struggling. But for me, it's things like little cubes of cheese, it's nuts, it's maybe some small ham sandwiches, mini cheddars are one of my favourites. So anything that's it's small and it's tasty and it's got some calories in it really, but definitely savoury is the way to go. Much easier on the stomach too.
I might not be the best person to ask about this. I might still have nutritionists hunting me down, but talk about things that you enjoy, and your goals and stuff. And so I was eating what I wanted. I found it's a good excuse to do that. And so I think all aspiring ultra runners before they enter a race should give themselves a nickname. And I was the donut king. And so just because I ate so much on the run, so it would brighten my day when my second breakfast was consisting mostly of donuts.
Food and drink, very important. I usually forget to eat, so normal food is preferable to me. So whether that's little sandwiches or little bits of flapjack, and little and often. And again, drinking, I tend to drink to thirst rather than having a set amount that I drink. So just drink when I'm thirsty.
Always Prosecco, yeah?
Always Prosecco, absolutely, yes. Yes!
Have you got any favourite snacks?
I like the little, the Cape Percy, the Go Bites. I actually love those. I find them really easy to eat, and I don't tend to like a lot of stuff, but actually I find that they work really well for me. And then some nuts and raisins, they work really well for me as well.
On an ultra, your rate of energy expenditure will be lower than it would be on, say, a half marathon or a 10k. So you know that it's not so important to get the energy in fast and not pure carbohydrate. So a mixture of carbs with fat, with fibres and healthy fats. So I'm talking about nuts. You can even take cheese sandwiches, peanut butter sandwiches, you can take hummus sandwiches. So a little bit of fat is actually a good thing on any long distance run. So I will probably take peanut butter bars. I like to make my own energy balls and energy bars. So I'll combine together oats, almond butter. I like to put in some dates and dried apricots and coconut, all of those things. And you can vary the proportions, so you can make it's really a very flexible recipe. Mix everything together. You can either cut it into bars or into balls, into really handy sizes that you can wrap in cling film or foil. I will store them in the fridge, but then obviously take them with you on your run, and you can put them into pockets either in running vest, or I prefer to take the belt with me. That works really well for me. So just things that are really handy size, but will be giving you the right nutrition, not just pure energy, and you'll just feel so much better at the end of the run.